because she had her children to look out for. She wanted the best for her children. And so, on International Women's Day, I give thanks to the heroes in my life. And I know that each one of you in this room has a hero in your life who has sacrificed so much for you to be here. And I want you to give thanks to them for their wonderful example. Give them a call, give them a text message, and just thank them for the bravery that they have displayed in their life in showing you what true womanhood is all about. Thank you all so much for being here. Sorry, I want to make this emotional.
So I know it's a hard one. I knew what she was going to talk about, so I wanted to come, make her go last, but maybe I should have planned it a little bit better. Should have been the last one. Thank you very much for being so brave. Now I would like to invite back Dr. Yvonne to come up to the stage and take panel seat. I think, ladies, after that warm talk, we're probably ready to open up. I'm going to open up the floor. You know the expertise of the panel. So we would invite any questions from the panel. So first one, yes, please. Can I say something? When you ask the question, please introduce yourself and ask the question to the panelists and name the panelist as well.
Thank you. Can I ask a couple of questions to a couple of panel members, or am I just allowed to one?
I'll say one, because I think there are other ladies who are, and I'm sure these ladies will be great to answer your questions.
Thank you. Then I'll just go with our first panel member, Dr. Yvonne, sorry. Yes, hi, I'm Nusrat. I'm from Sydney. I'm a friend of Shama. And it's a privilege to be here for this amazing event. And I see the wonderful work that you're doing in this sort of antenatal space with women and maternal health. And there's a lot of increase in your phone calls uptake and all that from what I understand from the data. My question is, how do you evaluate your program? Like, how is it working? And also, are you working with the family members of the women? Because, antenatal depression, it's such a huge factor and you have to engage with their partners, the families and all that. I'd be keen to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, and thank you for travelling down from Sydney. How wonderful. That was kind of a bit of a double-barrel question. So I'll start at the end. Most of our clients are the women. That's just the way it happens to work out. As I said, we are really stretched. We'd love to provide more groups for partners, for the men, for the dads. In fact, we ran a fantastic partners information night this week, which was really well attended. So that's one of the things is obviously often the mum will still be off on parental leave while we're helping her. The dads we need to be able to reach while they're still at work, usually that's the situation. So we do run things outside of work hours more for the dads. We also, if needed, we run telephone support for dads and even email support. We can also, in some cases, we run groups specifically for dads. I'd love to be able to reach them more, I really would. At the moment, as I said, we're quite stretched, but I'd love to be able to. I'd also love to be able to reach other family members, and I'm especially thinking of older siblings. It can often happen that there's an even almost adult sibling when a new child is born, if you're, there's a stretch out in age groups. So that's another area I'd like to be able to reach. In evaluating the programs, a couple of different ways. We're about to go into a major evaluation very soon, actually, of our newest programs. But predominantly, we ask our clients. So every single group that we run a new group, set of groups each term. We get feedback from our clients, we get feedback from them through telephone surveys and face-to-face and written surveys. We also, we're an accredited mental health service, so we go through accreditation every 3 years to ensure that everything that we're doing is appropriate. But we are looking at the moment, we've gone back and looked at our programs and thought about whether we're really meeting people's needs as well as we could. And one of the things that we found was we weren't providing people with enough tools and strategies that they could use at home. And that's absolutely vital. There's no point just coming together with another group of women, say once a week. You need to be able to take that home and have things that you can work on yourself. And so we've rewritten a number of our programs to provide more of those tools and strategies to really help people outside of our groups. And we've added in some more fun groups that we weren't sure if they were going to work or not. But it's unbelievable. Craft group has just taken off. I can't believe it. People come along and they bring their kids with them, sometimes older kids, and they just love sitting there doing all kinds of things. Amazing knitting's going on, let me tell you. But thank you for the question.
Okay, any other questions? Can I also, yes?
Good evening to all the wonderful panel members here. My name is Luna. I live in Canberra. I've got two parts actually. Just one question: empowerment. You know, to any one of you can take this question. What do you think empowerment means? What's the definition of empowerment? What does it mean to you? Because you know, we kind of use this word willy-nilly. We use it all the time. Not everybody really gets it, and. What are your thoughts on our Prime Minister's comment on International Women's Day when he said, you know, women should rise but not at the expense of others, which clearly he meant men. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe empowerment is when you see a fellow woman who succeeded and to ensure that you support her. Often I've seen, not often, but it happens that there's a level of how come she's reached to however she's reached, and a sense of entitlement. You know, she's succeeded, how come I didn't succeed? But the thing is about this, is if one of us succeeds, we all succeed. So when you see a fellow sister of your own community, in the Muslim community, in the multicultural community, right across the community. If you see somebody succeed, support them. Don't put them down. This is a weakness in our community, and I'm going to talk specifically now the Muslim community. We have a tendency to knock them down and really belittle them. How come they reached to how they reached? We need to change that mindset. We need to change the way we look at each other. A successful woman in our community means we have all succeeded. Support them, rise them, show them that they are respected, and let them succeed even more. Because the next one who succeeds could be yourself, could be your daughter, could be your sister, could be your mother. And you want the same for them as you will do for another. So for me, empowerment is to be selfless and to ensure you support everybody in the community and really make sure that you go to them and say thank you for whoever you are, for achieving whatever it is that you do. How can I help you to continue on your path? Because like I said, when you're in that position, you want others to come to you. And it's a mindset we really, really need to change. And as I said, we will all succeed as a result.
I would like to take on from Dr. Anna that she's very much hit the nail. It is the societal perception of what a woman should be. But empowerment to me, I think, starts from within. The moment you don't feel guilty about wanting what you think you deserve is the first act. Because if I'm confident that I deserve it, by virtue of my knowledge, my intelligence, my struggles, then of course you don't feel guilty about it. And then the question is how society views me. Is it supporting me, or is it not yet there to understand my needs? So it's my duty as an individual and collectively all our sisters here to make them understand what society needs to do to fulfill my own justified needs.
Thank you. We have time for a few more questions, 5 minutes of time left. And who wants to go next? Yes, Nazia. Sorry.
Thank you so much. My question, so I'm Nazia, my question's for Elizabeth. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm very sorry to hear about your experiences, but no doubt they've shaped the amazing person that you are today. So I think my question is, we know kind of there's a lot of evidence around the adverse outcomes for children who have affected and witnessed domestic violence. And something that, that I often think about a lot is that, what is that it factor that makes two people on the same trajectory, one person maybe succeeding and the other person kind of not being able to overcome the adversities that they've faced. So what is your empowerment factor that's made you who you are? What's driven you?
Thank you so much. That's a great question. I believe in mentorship. I had a really good friend who saw the darkness that I went through and who was able to ask me several questions to overcome the fear and the struggles that I went through. And I went through the same stuff that other kids who were exposed to domestic violence were. I was suicidal, I was depressed, I married young, but that was my choice. And I've got 5 kids, and each time I gave birth, I had postnatal depression because it stemmed back from my domestic violence that happened to me as a child. And I didn't actually know how to deal with it until I met a fantastic friend who was able to sit down with me and drill into the very core of who I am. And she asked me the question of, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you being depressed? Why are you unhappy? And when I started peeling back questions after questions, it came back to being forgiving to my father. I did not forgive him for what he did. I did not forgive him for what he turned out to be. I wanted him to be a great role model for me. And I did not forgive him. And that became a key factor in my life to let go of everything behind me. I was paralyzed from being a victim of domestic violence, and I needed to let that go. And the only way for me to let that go was forgiving him and forgiving what he did to me. And after I forgave him, the process was very practical. My friend had asked me, write down every single thing that he did to you. And I did. I wrote it down. It was a long list. And she said to me, after you've done that, burn it. I said, really? What would that accomplish? So I did. I just wrote it down and I burned it. And that was symbolic of me letting go of every single damage that he had caused me and my family. Because I had not spoken to him for many years before that. And after that, she said to me, now you will go through some trials in your life. You will constantly be asking yourself, why me? Why were you brought up in this family? Why did you experience abuse in your childhood? Why did you feel this? Why this and that? And she said to me, instead, turn that around to start being grateful for the things that you have in life. You are healthy. You have healthy limbs. You have food now. Be grateful for that. You have roof over your shelter, over your head. Be grateful for that. You have a family now. Be grateful for that. And so when I started seeing the beauty in my life, being grateful for it, it began to change my perspective around. And she said to me, the third thing you need to do is give service to other people. I said, okay. And so she taught me that when you lose yourself in the service of other people, you will develop happiness. And that was the very first time that I experienced happiness, was when I lost myself in giving back to other people. I thought she was crazy when she said that. But when you actually live it, and you do it, you will experience great joy in your life. And so I think that's the difference between somebody who grew up with abusive and becomes successful in the end, was that I had a great friend, a great mentor, to see the weakness in me and help me change that around, as opposed to somebody who experienced the same thing, but they don't have that great support to help them change their life.
It's beautiful. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Such an inspiration. The more I hear from you, the more energized I feel. Now we have only one last question before we finish. Yes.
Thank you very much, organizers first, for organizing this wonderful event. Just wanted to ask, if anyone can take it. I go to a lot of leadership forums, and I also mentor at the ANU, and I tend to take female students for my mentees. I am a bit biased towards that, but I have a reason for that. So statistics say, at a higher level, at an executive level, there's more men still representing compared to women. However, that's not true for workers level. There are a lot more women at the workers level compared to men. So that means when women tend to move up the ladder, it becomes harder and harder. And statistics also say that usually women are the enemy for women. And usually for every successful woman, there is a man who is either a mentor or a manager, or somehow they supported that woman to go up the ladder. So my question to the panel, what are your thoughts on that? Why are we becoming the enemies of our own community? Thank you.
Wonderful question. Who wants to take it? Very insightful. The question is very insightful. You have your mic, please.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, first of all, I also believe that women are definitely sometimes enemies to women because we all are a product of patriarchy in a way, right? We are, our socialization, the way we were brought up, basically made us think and believe the patriarchal values. So we are not only, it's not about men versus women, it's not about, women versus women, it's about patriarchy versus rest of the humankind, to me. Because in a way, when we start believing and nurturing, so for example, let's think about an example. In a household setup, typically, traditionally, a male child is privileged over a female child, like traditionally. Why is that? Why the mother is nurturing more a male child than a female child? Because probably she thinks her future security depends on the male child. So she's more, So it's not about, to me, it's not about male versus women, men versus women. To me, it's about how we sort of holds up the patriarchal values, and or how we don't hold up the patriarchal values. Based on that, our behavior changes. And and also the other part about mentoring. I think it's great to take women mentees. I think it's a great initiative that you're doing. I would like to congratulate you. But it's also true. The higher you go, the less women you can see, because it goes back to our gender role basically. Because women are supposed to give birth, supposed to raise the children, and supposed to take care of the family and then pursue her career. That's how we still, even in a society like Australia or any other developed country, we still sort of going with that value, which is again a patriarchal value. So I think that's where women goes up to one level, and then all of a sudden her biological clock ticks, and then she has to give birth to a baby, and then take care, and then all these
other duties comes with that role, that hasn't changed much. So possibly that's why we don't see many women, at the higher level.
Thank you. I probably disagree with part of that, only because I don't think we are a homogenous community at any point in time. We all bring our own personal family experience, cultural experience, religious experience. So we do bring to the table what we bring with, I was a single mother. I raised my daughter since she was 2. She's only ever known me as a mother and father. She's a boxer now. I didn't ever plan that for her, but it's sort of her. So for her experience is she's only ever seen me as a mother, been out there. I've protested in the streets. I've done everything that you can imagine. The most outspoken person, being quoted in the paper, God knows how many times, criticising every Prime Minister that we've ever had. I'll do that because that's my circle. The things that I do. I walk the halls of Parliament House now. I've been implementing brand new security upgrades for every politician's suite. That's my role. I've done that because for me, that's my normal. That's my normal environment. And I'm sure if we spoke to every single woman in this room, you also each have your own little circle of your life, your experiences, and you bring that. So when it comes to high levels of positions, you will use that, good and bad, whatever it is that you brought to the table. And as Elizabeth, she's an outstanding woman who broke every mould and said, you know what, I'm not going to allow my background or my situation or my history stop me from getting to where I am. She's now a successful politician. And so we bring our own personal life and stories to whatever it is that we do in our life. And so don't allow anything stop in your way. Go for it and break that ceiling and be leaders. And don't let anyone tell you you can't, because you can. And if they try and stop you, question them. Don't let them question you as to why you want to be in that position. Question them as to why they're stopping you from reaching that position.
A sense of resignment in kind of identifying that there is a patriarchal society. Nobody's disputing that. We know that. And it's our job to call it as that. But not to feel helpless with it. And yes, the statistics does say that at a worker level, there's more women. You go to mid-managerial level, it becomes 25. The higher managerial level, it's only, I think, if I remember correctly, 10%. But I would like to look at it in a broader picture. Yes, we do have gender roles. We do have a biological clock. We want to have family. We want to have children. But there's a choice to it. The moment the choice goes, then it's a different issue. We don't have to resign and think this is a patriarchal society, these views are there. Yes, call it as that. There's nobody, you can be a woman celebrating motherhood, choosing to take a break in workforce. It's your choice. We see women in parliament taking breaks because they want to raise their children. It's not because they were forced to. It's a choice they make. I think it's about time in this century we realize we have got a choice and grab it. And as women mentors, we do encourage women, and I do feel very saddened by the view thinking that women are against women. I think we women are, it's a human nature. If somebody is successful, others will be envious. So it's not a state of being a woman that's stopping another woman. If that's happening, then you go back and see what it is. Is it the cultural view? Is it the social expectations that molding that view? I think we need to have that openness